Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Masterpiece Lounge. I'm sure by now this is one of your most favorite spaces of the internet to hang out each week. So, welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is a safe space where we talk about all things that help push your personal and professional life forward. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you for always hanging out with me. And as always, I invite you to let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome as you all join the room. I am just so grateful that we get to spend this time together each and every week. And so today we have another fabulous topic that we're going to be talking about in preparation for putting a bow on this year as we close out the fourth quarter soon and we usher in a new year, right? We have to prepare because here in the Masterpiece Lounge, we like to get our affairs in order. And so today's no different. So we're going to be talking about creating an action plan and what that looks like and what are some things that you should consider when doing so. All right, so creating an action plan. What does that look like? What do we need to do to make sure that we're successful? All the steps that you need to consider, all of those things are important, and I'm going to make sure that we touch on those today. So in today's segment, I'm going to be sharing steps on how to create an action plan for a successful upcoming year. Okay, why is that important? It is important because creating an action plan is crucial for turning your goals not into just something that you look at, you think about, you dream about, and hope for, but into actionable steps and achieving success in the new year. That is important. If you don't know by now, I am the hostess with the mostest, certified life coach, author, and speaker, Chrisnatha. So let's get into these steps that I'm going to share with you to help you create an effective action plan as you prepare for the upcoming year. All right, so for all my note takers, get your pens, get your pads, get your devices, let's go. Number one, the first step is to review your goals. So I want you to first write those goals down, but then review them. Go back and look at them again and use our SMART goals standard, right, to see if this is something that is as specific as possible, if it's something we can measure, if it's relevant to your life right now, right? And if it's achievable for you. So I want you to really review your goals. What are some things that I am going to lend my focus, my effort, my resources to? Now, remember, you don't have to have a list of 15. If you want to, great. But I suggest having a solid 2, 3, 5 goals. Like, you get to decide, but I don't want you to think that you have to overwhelm yourself to be successful. Okay, so review those goals. What do they look like? Are they relevant? Do they fit in my life at this present moment? Do they scare me a bit, right? And it's okay if they do, because our goals are usually bigger than us. And so it's okay if they do, but ask yourself these questions. The next step I want you to do is break down your goals. If you want to write a book, it can seem overwhelming, just the thought alone. But if you break down that goal and say, I'm going to write one chapter in the next 2 weeks, right? Just something I threw out there. That means in the next 2 weeks, I have to set aside time to write, right? So I'm going to block out these 3 hours every few days to make sure I'm lending my time and attention and focus to this goal. So as you write a page and you write 2 pages and you write 3 pages and you write 10 paragraphs and then you write a chapter and then you write another chapter. And so it's all about making sure that you're taking those small steps, those actionable steps to get you closer to the larger goal. The third tip I want you to think about and put into practice is prioritizing your tasks. A lot of times we can be very busy. I am someone that has a to-do list. I love going by lists. It just helps me. I don't have to remember anything, right? I just get to check it off as I go. But it's important that I prioritize my tasks. What do I mean? I mean that there are some things that are not as important as others. And so there's some things that can wait till tomorrow. So you have to identify what's urgent for me. That's what I'm going to work on first. That's what I'm going to make sure I have time blocked out for. And everything else, we accomplish it accordingly, right? Sometimes it has to look at it tomorrow, look at it next week. So it depends, and you know what is priority and what isn't. Okay. The next step is assign deadlines. Yes. So yes, you're going to work on that business plan, but when do you plan to be finished? When do you plan to have the first draft of this book, right? Completed. When do you plan to have your book prepared for pre-sales? When do you prepare to have it structured and the layout completed and the editing be done? Like when you have to add some dates to it. Be very realistic with yourself, but you have to assign dates, because if you don't assign deadlines, you can really let this thing go out 12 months, 15 months, 18 months. But when you assign deadlines, now you're working toward that deadline. If you need to adjust deadlines a bit, that's okay, but you have to have something you working toward. Next is to allocate your resources. There are some goals that are going to, well, let me say this, all our goals are going to cost us. The question is, it's going to cost us what, right? Some will cost us time, effort. Some will also cost us some of our resources. And so if that's the case, then you want to allocate your resources toward the goals that you're looking to accomplish. When you are self-publishing, for example, I'm going to keep using the book example, but when you're self-publishing your book, for instance, there may be some costs that you don't have to worry about, but there are some costs, right? If someone's going to edit your book, you're going to have to pay them, right? You're going to have to pay for that service to get it formatted and get the layout correct. That's an expense, right? You may want to invest in some marketing so that you can promote your upcoming book. There's some resources that has to be allocated to that. Maybe you want to plan a book launch, a book signing event. There's some resources that needs to be allocated to that. And so you want to think about what that looks like for you. So as you make your plans for the upcoming year, consider how much, or a range, or my budget, that I need to allocate in terms of resources for this goal. That is important. It helps you plan even better. The next step is creating a timeline. Every goal isn't something that you are looking to do in the next 12 months. Maybe you're looking to do this over the span of 5 years. That's okay too. But there are some steps you can start to take in preparation for that big goal. For instance, let's say you're thinking about becoming a homeowner in the next 2 to 3 years. That's an amazing goal, right? But maybe you feel like, I'm not ready today to buy a home, but that is a goal. No problem. There are things you can start doing in preparation for that. So creating a timeline for those goals. What are some steps I need to take prior to that? I need to come up with a savings goal, right? And so every so often, I want to save this amount of money that's going to get me to this number, right? That's creating a timeline. Maybe I need to get, my credit needs to get better, or that's something that I'm going to work on. So what's my timeline to make sure that I allocate to making sure that my credit score increases, right? So there's just different things. Making sure that I'm organized in all of my financial documents, my bank statements and my pay stub, all of my things are organized and easy to find. So creating a timeline for that larger goal. And we just said it, but the next step is you have to stay organized. It's a lot to manage our lives. If you're a parent, the lives and the schedule of your children and everything that just comes with everyday life, your business, the workplace, everything in between, right? And so it's important that we do everything we can to stay organized. There are tools that are available for us to get organized. So whatever aspect of your life that you feel you're not as organized, there is a tool to help you. So do some research and put some systems in place so that you can be as organized as possible. We're not looking for perfection, right? But it's all about progress. The next step is to make sure that you monitor and evaluate your progress. So something that I do that helps me is I have a reminder in my cell phone at the end of each month I block out about an hour, hour and a half, so about 90 minutes where I sit down and I really evaluate what happened this month. What did I do well? What worked? What made sense? What adjustments or changes did I make that are helping me? So I make note of that, right? Oftentimes we're so busy, we don't have enough time to sit and evaluate, but I sit down and evaluate that progress. And then I also think about what didn't work, what was challenging this month, and that I have control over, that I can adjust, that I can revise, that I can go back and say, this isn't working the way I thought it was going to, or I need to change the plan. I need to revise the plan, right? I need to delegate some things. I was spending too much time on this and not enough on that, right? And so sit down and evaluate your progress. What do you need to change? It's better to know what changes need to be made now than to wait 6 months and then check, right? But I do that. You can do that monthly. You can even check in with yourself. Of course, we can do daily check-ins, but I like really sitting down and really looking at progress. I would say monthly. Some people, you may want to sit down quarterly. You can do this alone, or you can do this with accountability partners. So it's up to you. Community is always great. And so having that support would be awesome too. So you can, at the end of each quarter, sit down and say, what made sense the last 3 months? What didn't make sense? What's not working? Let's change that. So the upcoming quarter, let's have a better experience, right? And a better progress. The next step is to stay committed and disciplined. This is not easy, but commitment is what keeps us going to the finish line. Oftentimes, I hear people say, oh, I just need to be motivated. And motivation is great. It gets you pumped up, it gets you excited, you feel good, but there's going to be moments where that wears off. And so where that feeling of motivation and excitement dwindles, do you have staying power? Are you going to keep going? And this is where your why comes into play. Why did you start in the first place? So beyond this excitement and motivation, you have to press forward. Now, there's things that can help encourage you along the way, because you can get discouraged, right? So we can't deny that. And so you have, I like inspirational music. I like inspirational talks. I like sermons, prayer, meditation. I love listening to amazing thought leaders, right? While I'm working, just listening to a podcast, listening to something that's really feeding my spirit and encouraging me to keep pressing forward. So those are some things that I feed my mind, my heart, my spirit. And I encourage you to do the same. Because it gets hard, but you want to stay committed to the task. You want to stay committed to what you know can change your life. Discipline, man, it's not easy. I have to honestly say, there are areas in my life where I am like disciplined, no problem. Then there's other areas of my life where I'm like, why can't I just get this thing? Why can't I figure this out? Why can't I do this and stick with it? And so we all have room to grow, right? There's areas of opportunity for growth for us all. So it's all about continuing to press forward. And lastly, seek support and accountability. If you need to hire a coach, a mentor, whatever it is, do it. We cannot do this alone, and no man is an island. And so get the support that you need. If you need to make sure that you're mentally healthy throughout this journey of life, which I feel like we all do, right? And so check in with your mental health specialist, your therapist. It's important for you. Take breaks, rest. We say that all the time here in our segment, here in the Masterpiece Lounge. Rest is a weapon, right? And so use it. Take care of yourself. Any support that you need, ask someone who has been where you are and who has accomplished the things that you're looking to accomplish. Learn from them, right? There's never a time where we are not learning anymore, or we don't need to learn anymore. So continue to learn, put yourself out there, hire a coach, get mentorship, and keep going. I am rooting for your success. It's so important that we remember that we're not here by ourselves, and you don't have to go through this journey alone. There's so many groups of fellow business owners, of fellow dreamers and doers and shakers, right? That are looking to do the same thing, make a difference in their lives, in their family's life, in their generation, in their circle of influence, right? And in the world, right? So it's important that we know that we don't have to do it alone. We can get together, support one another because we need it. And also, there are times where I'm not as positive, or I don't feel as strong. And so having the support in a community with like-minded women, I can lean on another sister, and I can borrow from her strength in the moment. Maybe I need to borrow some of her faith, right? Because mine may not be as strong in that moment. And so that's where community comes in. So get with a like-minded community and get a mentor, get a coach, get someone to help you, because we're in this thing together. So those are the steps about creating a amazing plan for the upcoming year, guys. Listen, success is not by accident, and success leaves clues. So let's get strategic about our success. Let's also connect on all social media platforms at Chrisnatha everywhere. So I want you to be my friend. So yeah, um, look me up, follow, like, all of the things, right? Subscribe, follow, everything else. Let's connect, and let's continue to be really strategic about the success that we are seeking. So I will be back same time, same place next week. And it's always a pleasure hanging out with you here in the Masterpiece Lounge. Have a blessed rest of your day, and I will see you soon. And until then, be well.